So you know what's the worst feeling?
What?
Eating like I just was, and then the phone for work starts ringing, and I know I have like 20 seconds to get enough food out of my mouth to be able to say, Gordon Flesh, this is Sam. And it's like down in water, just like I'm trying to get peanut butter out of my mouth or whatever. Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
And I am Maddy Grace Webbin.
And today we'll be talking about the Septennial segment of Septerra Core, covering everything up until we get through, well, not through Marduk's Palace. What was the last thing we did?
I forget where you already said to stop.
We cut it short.
Was it stopping after? Was it stopping after getting out of the underground?
Just now stopping after we raised Shelf 4.
That's right. Awesome. Yeah. So stopping after we raised Shelf 4.
Only one of us actually fully played this week.
Yes.
For reasons that we'll get into soon.
Yeah. But before we get into all of that, how was everybody's week?
I can't remember if anything significant happened. Pretty sure it didn't. So.
I don't know, man. I'm doing good. I'm playing more and more FF14 because it's good.
Yeah.
Well, not a whole ton. I'm not nearly as obsessed. Like when I first got into it last year, y'all remember it was like, "Hi, I'm going to play FF14." A week later, hello again. You might remember me from a week ago. When was the last time I did anything that wasn't playing FF14? But no, it's not. Now I'm being a bit more chill about it. But I'm playing most days, at least for an hour or two. And sometimes it'll be like, it's 2 a.m. It's time to go to bed. Or I could play this game that I haven't played today for an hour, even though it's literally 2 a.m. Other than that, I don't know. I have healthcare now. I got my dental insurance card in the mail today, so I can go to the dentist for the first time in 4 years. I saw my GP about some various things and got some referrals and basically got the ball rolling on my health and all, which is really nice.
You stuttered the word doctor. I thought you were stuttering the word dog, and I was getting real excited. And then you said,
"I'm sorry,"
GP, and it wasn't dog,
or doctor.
I'm sorry. And in addition, my long journey that I believe I've been telling y'all about for a while is finally over. I finally have a place to live with my girlfriend.
Yay!
We pretty much had that a week or 2 weeks ago, or a week ago, but or 2 weeks ago, really. But we didn't have the lease yet, right? So it was what if something happened? What if the landlord decides he doesn't like us, actually? And I already gave my 30 days notice, so I was technically a little dangerous, but I was 99% sure it was fine. But anyway, on Friday, he finally sends us the lease, except the problem is it's 50 fucking pages. And I felt bad about making my current housemate use, because they let me use their printer sometimes, and I was like, I'm not going to make you print something that's 50 pages long. So I went to UPS today to print it, but luckily I realized I could just print the pages that I had to sign instead of the whole thing, which was still 14 pages. So
that's weird that they don't have a digital signature thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Feels a little archaic.
But anyway, so I printed 14. I realized since it was just 14 pages, maybe I could have just done it at home, but whatever. So I printed the 14 pages just today, brought them home, signed them, and now all I gotta do is it took pictures of them, and now all I gotta do is put them on the internet and make it into a PDF and then send it to the guy and then pay my rent deposit and 4 days prorated rent for the end of this month. And then I've got a place, which is just, this has been a long time coming. I've been looking forward to this moment for a year. And in addition, it's good for y'all because my internet will be better.
Oh yeah.
Well, that hasn't really been an issue with us much
Awesome.
lately, but still, my internet will be better, which will be good both for, not having an internet problem in the middle of streaming or in the middle of recording podcasts, and it'll also be good because I can stream at a higher than standard definition. Which is my current streaming resolution. And I could even maybe do something like stream FF14 because I can play an MMO and stream at the same time. But that's secondary to my girlfriend who I love living with them thing. But the part that's relevant to you is that I'm going to have better internet.
Yeah.
So the point is, life is good and exciting and nice, and I'm just simply chilling. And I'm a little sad that I'm not at a Super Bowl party right now because I do love the Super Bowl and football is the greatest sport in the world. However, I have literally not watched a single game of Super Bowl. A single game
You
of
haven't
football.
seen a single superb owl?
No, I haven't. And I have not watched a single football game this season, so I really have no stake in any of it. And also none of my friends like football, or at least none of the friends that are in my COVID bubble, and the ones that do like football are not in my COVID bubble. So, if I can't throw a party and have a brisket or go to a bar, what's the point? Also, I don't have TV, so I would have had to find out how to watch it, right? So all that is to say, I am sad, but I am looking forward to next year when I will have a Super Bowl party with my friends, and I will watch the Super Bowl, and my friends will talk to each other and eat food.
Love it. Yeah, this football season has been weird for me because it's not like I normally watch it a lot, but I feel I run into people who talk about it a lot, so I kind of know what's happening and who at least is going to be in the Super Bowl. I literally have no idea who it will be, who's playing right now, because the only football interaction I've had is I'll go to the laundromat early in the morning to do laundry, and in ESPN we were talking about the game from last night, and my only reaction is why didn't you just cancel football for the year?
I know.
This is so dumb. Why are you doing this? We don't need to watch football in 2020. But
No.
Yeah.
Excited for all of the commercials, the ones that came out pre-game, the Tide Pod commercial with Jason Alexander hoodie. That's the one to check out, folks.
I need to look at those. Ken actually wished me a happy Super Bowl commercial day today because he knows I'm not into football, but the commercials are always great. So yeah, I'll watch those.
Yeah.
So the thing is, this time around, it's the Bucks versus the Chiefs, which the reason why that's a big deal, other than the fact that, both are relatively
I don't know
teams.
either of those teams.
I've
literally never heard of them.
But okay, I know you know nothing about football, but the reason why this matters is that Tom Brady is in the game.
Oh, nice.
The reason I said that is because it sounds like it's probably also a big deal because those are teams that don't normally go to the Super Bowl.
Not particularly. But no, the point is that Touchdown Tom is in the game, and so of course people are going to have very strong feelings about whether or not you should count out Touchdown Tom. Which, spoiler alert, you should never do that.
So I only know the Buccaneers exist because of a funny story that's related to video games. So we're back on topic for all of those nerds that checked out for a couple of minutes. But back in 64 days, it was the Falcons versus somebody else, and me and my brother, to get ready for Super Bowl, we were playing I just said for Super Bowl with no article on it. That's my new favorite thing I've accidentally said. So we were getting ready for Super Bowl.
It is time for Super Bowl.
And we were like, let's play the Super Bowl on NFL Blitz against each other in the morning, and we'll see who's right. And I accidentally, because the Buccaneers, fun fact, are the alphabetical first team on the list in NFL Blitz, I was spamming through it really fast, and I accidentally picked Buccaneers. So that's who we played instead of the Falcons. I think instead of the Falcons. So it was Falcons and Broncos. It was that year. So I played the Bucks. I played the Buccaneers on accident. So that's why I know they exist. It's one of the one of the shames that plays in my head constantly for the rest of my entire life.
Well, that's the thing.
Picking the
Tom
wrong
Brady
team.
this is his first year playing with the Bucks, so
nice.
obviously he's very famous for playing for the Patriots. Obviously, so,
I also didn't know that Bucks was short for Buccaneers. I thought you were talking
Deer
about
Bucks.
like their mascot is.
I mean,
big
that makes
old deer.
sense. That would also be a pretty normal name for
I
a
feel like
football
deer
team.
would be good at football, considering like the antlers, and they'd be real good at
No, that
the
makes total
tackling
sense.
thing.
Yeah, my cousin's high school was the Deer Park Bucks. So
There you go.
those are deer.
There we
so.
go. Yeah.
The junior high team is the Deer Park Deer, and that just doesn't strike as much. It doesn't strike near as much fear.
Yeah.
So anyway, as a longtime Patriots hater, I've always been generally on the opposing side from Touchdown Tom, but I do like the Bucks. So
Nice.
I mean, again, I haven't watched a single game this year, but like if I were at a football at a Super Bowl party, I'd probably be rooting for the Bucks right now. But like,
Okay,
whatever,
so
right?
I have a
I'm pretty
question.
sure they're winning by a lot right now. I think.
I have
What's
a
your
question
Eli?
because I'm genuinely interested in the answer to this.
Yes, they are.
What is it about certain football teams that makes them like your mortal enemy? Like why do football fans get so into it and act like these teams are? And I'm not being judgy. Like people act like this. Like,
Hey,
Well, it's,
Eli.
scary.
It's a lot of reasons. Part of it
Eli,
is that
I'll make
might
it really
be-
really easy for you. Hoarder Alliance.
I'm neutral. I play both factions. 2, all of my characters are RP'd as faction neutral. You can't ask me that question. It doesn't
Okay,
work.
but you
Okay, well,
probably
clearly you're
can
not the target
understand
audience
that.
for this concept then.
I like cooperation.
It has it's a common. Well, first
we
of
have
all,
a
first
cooperative
of all,
football
there's no
game?
such thing as cooperation in football, and part of it is the fun of you have to pick one or the other, so you're gonna get into it, right? Like it's part of
I
the, sort of
guess.
the performance
guess.
of being into it. But also, it depends. It might be because of where you're from. It could be because of your family. It could be because of certain people on the team that you really like a lot. It could be because of certain coaches or owners. A lot of the time, a lot of teams have certain ways of playing that they're traditionally known for. Like this team typically is really offensive. This team is typically really defensive. And of course, these things shift over time, obviously. They're always churning players and coaches and stuff like that. But there's an institutional memory to them. So, the more you are in the world, the more you just sort of get each team just kind of has a vibe, basically. Now, certain teams are way more than a vibe. Like the Patriots, well, I'm going to the Patriots. Let's talk about the Cowboys. The Cowboys have a reputation for being like really obnoxious, right? Or not just like for being like really pompous, which is really more the fans. But also like it's Dallas, and like I hate Dallas, right? So why would I support the Cowboys? Like they represent a city that sucks, right? But there are other there's other reasons. Like for example, the damn it, I can't remember the name of the team. Oh, the Packers are actually publicly owned, which is incredible. So of course socialists love the Packers because they literally are owned by they're owned by the city. And I do believe that like there's something where like citizens of the city can like purchase for a very small for like a small amount of money can like buy a share in the team and like a vote or something like that in their like board. I forget how it works, but like so that's cool, right?
That's cool.
So anyway, to answer your question,
Also,
lots of reasons, but once you decide which teams you like and don't like, you just get really into it because it's fun, like fandoms and stuff.
Yeah, and as a new resident of Wisconsin, I have to say the Packers are the best team. I've never ever watched anything that had to do with the Packers, but they're listening and they'll get me if I don't say it.
They're great. So Packers are great.
Coming from
this podcast,
Yeah, we love
definitely
the Packers. For Sam's sake, we love the Packers.
coming from Texas, where
Josie, Catherine, Pete, all of them. Who else is gonna
at the Packers mill?
Who else is gonna run the sawmill?
Yeah.
So coming from Texas, where we have the Cowboys, which, as you said before, are obnoxious and pompous, and therefore there's Cowboys merch like in like you will go into a Mexican bakery and everything will be sold in bags with computer labels on it to tell you what's in it, and they will have Cowboys merch for sale in Texas. Like that's just how it works, and it's that, but with the Packers here, and it's weird because it's one of those things that like, of course you see Cowboys merch everywhere. Like that's just a thing I've seen for 30 years, and now it's gone and it's replaced with a lot brighter colors than silver and blue for yellow and green. It's just like everywhere, and it was a weird thing to get through.
So I have an idea for when AI gets really, really sophisticated and we can make like actual like robot people like in Detroit Become Human, only better because that never mind, I'm not going to go into all the stuff
David
with
Cage.
that game. Yeah. Anyway, but we make co-op sports that are basically like raids, where one team is like an enemy AI, and you have to defeat them in a sports game.
Eli, you should get really into Blazeball.
But then the bad guys don't have special fun personalities, is the thing.
But you can program them into the robots, like.
That reminds me of on how I Met Your Mother, how Ted and Marshall are Washington Generals fans, which are the AI bad guys for the Harlem Globetrotters to go in, because the Harlem Globetrotters games are all fake because it's just them showing off their tricks, but the other team is the Washington Generals, and so Ted and Marshall go to cheer on the Generals every single time. They're always like, they're traveling, that can't be legal, and it's a great bit. It's one of those things that like just happens in the background of like a scene every
no
every
memory
season.
of this, but I believe you.
It's so good. As for my week, I'm not playing any more Septerra Core, and it's not because I'm mad at it. I actually really like this game, and I'm really sad that I don't have more time to do it. I just am out of time for the time sink that this game has become. So F's in chat for my Septerra Core playthrough.
Yep.
It's the first time you've had to quit mid game, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been far more of a trooper than either of me.
I am holding down the fort. I am the last bastion of actual game playing. The
also,
gameplay,
I need your save file.
What's that?
I need your save file.
Oh, okay.
If I'm gonna continue trying to cheat my way to the end.
The ratio of gameplay to amount of story content to talk about is literally the worst of any game we've played since our very first game, Persona 3.
It's worse than Persona 3, I'd say.
It is either about the same or worse than Persona 3, depending on the week. Yeah, because Persona 3 was like often like around 8 hours or so, and this. For this week, like last time for us, it was like 9 hours for me, although I was not playing very well. But this week was 7 hours, and we truncated it. Yeah. So it probably would have been like 10 hours if we hadn't cut it short. So this game is just a lot of hitting buttons. I've started cheating on my stream. Oh, actually, I have lost my Steam a little bit. I have started looking at a walkthrough a little bit. Not too much because I don't like to, but if I wasn't streaming, I fucking wouldn't. But since I'm streaming, it's like these people are watching me go around in circles for 30 minutes. But anyway, in the lengthy dungeon, ironically, I like the dungeon parts better because when I'm streaming, I can just chat with my viewers while I'm doing the mindlessly clicking buttons. Whereas when there's like dialogue and talking, I have to be like, oh, hold on, I need to actually pay attention to what they're saying. I can't just chat with my fans. But anyway, during the endless dungeon part, I finally decided to do something which don't you dare tell Twitch. I've been playing music during the long game parts.
How dare.
I've been playing pretty obscure stuff. I mean, not obscure stuff. It's famous classical music, but I don't think the estate of Dmitry Shostakovich is like particularly strong about policing Twitch streams. And also I'm not a streamer that has any kind of, I have only a couple viewers, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, no, I was like, all right, fuck it. We're listening to some nice music. Let's play Shostakovich's Ninth Symphony while we're doing this dungeon. Yeah. So if you want to hear some lovely music and also enjoy the tension and the excitement of wondering whether or not my Twitch account's going to get banned, check out my streams.
The reason I'm so busy is fun. My brother and I have a wedding photography business. I've been out of the game for basically since Scarlett was born. And my brother has basically COVID fucked him. You can't have weddings in COVID, and so 12 months of no income. He just got a day job instead. And so because he has a day job, and he also has had some health issues and whatnot, I'm helping him close out our accounts and catch up on wedding editing, which normally I bust them out in 2 days. But that was before I had kids that every 30 minutes just cry until you hold them for an hour. And it's just real hard. So trying to squeeze in gaming, especially a game that I can't play while I'm working, has been a little too much. So I'll be back for PSP block next time, but no Septerra for me. The two quick other things that have happened this week is me and Summer did a deep exfoliating foot mask, which
is it one of the I heard her laugh in the background.
Yeah, they're awesome. So what
is that
you
one
do,
of the ones with the all of your skin peels off at once?
Yep, it's super gross.
God.
It's super good. My feet are softer than they've been in years. Oh, it's very disgusting, but the end result is amazing. But they're little booties, and you put the booties on for 90 minutes, and then you take them off and you rub the excess goop, rub it in, moisturize your foot with it, and then you basically don't touch your feet for 7 to 10 business days. And at the end of all of that, you just start flaking like you had a bad sunburn, and all your calluses fall off, and your feet are soft and delightful. And
but your calluses are keeping your feet from hurting so much when you walk around.
Yeah, but they also have gotten so bad on me that they catch my blanket when I'm trying to sleep.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, it's real gross. Feet are gross and disgusting.
Yeah, they are. Why? How did they find this thing that just causes skin to slough off? That sounds just absolutely horrific.
Yeah. And the worst part about it is our entire apartment is now covered in feet because as we've been walking today, it's just big old chunks of our feet will be falling off. So it's real gross, but I highly recommend it.
This is the episode where Sam made Eli throw up.
Yeah, this is disgusting. I hate all of this. Also, I don't know, man.
God.
I don't know. Back when I was in college, some of my my housemates at one point were very surprised, probably because they grew up in, I don't know, fucking Dallas area ass, bougie bullshit, and I guess walk around in a soft bed of nicely nicely
neatly crumbled $100 bills
all the time, because they were always really surprised that if there was something happening outside, if I had to go to my car or something, I'd be like, oh, I'll just go out to my car real fast, and I walk out barefoot, and it'd be in the middle of the summer, 100 degrees, and I'd come back, and they'd just be like, you just walk around on rock and asphalt with your shoes, with no shoes or anything. I'm like, yeah, why would I want to put on shoes? It takes too long.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that. So yeah, if I ever lose my callus, I'm gonna hurt myself.
Yeah, I normally am like that, but then I moved to a place with snow, so I'll put on some shoes now. It was one time that I was like, the trash is just off the porch. I just have to walk across the porch, throw the trash in the can, and come back. I'm not putting on my shoes. And it was the worst decision of my entire life. It was so freaking cold. And I think I was wearing like socks at the time, so they just got soaked with ice water. And no, don't do it. It was bad.
No, yeah, not a good idea.
And that segues into my last real quick one. When I woke up today, it was negative 14 degrees.
Christ.
The coldest I've ever been. So I opened the door and I went out and it was okay. Like I felt fine. I'm like so hot natured. Customers like, oh, you got to get a coat. And I'm like, yeah, if I could just wear a long sleeve shirt and a hoodie, I'll probably be fine. And yeah, I think I probably would have been fine with a long sleeve shirt and a hoodie today. I'm made out of fire. It's not fair to everyone else.
I really miss living in a cooler climate. Like,
yeah,
Texas is not good for me.
Yeah, the thing that has sucked for the last 30 years of my life being made out of fire is so is Texas.
Yep.
So when it's in the middle of the summer, like
and fire, like fighting fire with fire just makes more fire.
Yeah, it was real uncomfortable to fall asleep in Texas, and now I sleep like a baby. So pro tip to everyone who is hot natured and lives in the South, get out of there. Just get out.
God, would I love to.
But yeah, let's now listen to a deep album Halo track and talk about the plot this week.
There's like a dozen different battle themes, and we've played through all of them at this point.
Yeah.
Like, and that's pretty much the only music. Like, I don't even understand. And there's so many different fanfares. I don't get that either. Like,
yeah.
Why do they not just have a single, like, you won fanfare?
Well, it's the fanfare is actually really cool. It's like Legend of Dragoons. It finishes the phrase of the song that was just playing.
Yeah, I actually think that's pretty neat. But yeah, no, I hear what I think is that they were initially like, yo, what if we did, JRPGs are cool with their music and all, but what if we what if like someone involved in the game on a high level was really excited about having these like elaborate, like very, very complex and well done ambient sort of soundscapes. Like I'm sure you've noticed if you're playing the game with headphones, especially like in stereo, in some areas, like when you get nearer and farther from basically anything, it makes this ambient sound, and it's like really, really good. I actually streamed. I finally remembered to do this on my stream. I turned on. I made it stereo sound instead of mono, which I always forget to do before I start streaming, just so that my viewers could hear it. Right? It's like really, really good. But then someone must have been like, no, but like we got to have battle music, right? So then they're like, it's like one person wanted this cool Halo-ass battle music because Halo, didn't exist yet, but let's just pretend like it did. And then the other person wanted like, ambient soundscapes, and then they're just like, I guess we'll just do both and have like 7 pieces of music in the whole game.
Yep. So for those who don't remember, we last left our heroes in the middle of a big non-linear section, and the part of the section that we did, we communicated with the ancient race of the planet called the Watchers, and our good friend Layla got, and now she's an ancient robot too. And along in our travels, we were informed that General Campbell was alive, and we could have gone and talked to him last week, but we didn't. So let's go do that now. Mm-hmm. We make our way to South Farm, which is the apparent nexus of this entire goddamn game.
Yeah, for real.
This is one of 3 times we visit South Farm this week, and South Farm hasn't been relevant plot wise since like the first episode.
South Farm is just like Septerra's hottest club. It's got everything. Hellgag.
It's got everything.
A secret passageway. That thing where the old lady gives you a bunch of birdseed for no reason, and then you go on a game-spanning side quest.
And we make our way up to the bar in South Farm, and Campbell's there. He says that he's dying and he wants to try right his wrongs before he goes by helping us get the anti-doomsday weapon that Jinam was working on before it got smooshed. We remind him about the smooshing, and he's like, yeah, but the shit was underground, so it's probably still there. You just got to get there somehow with some explosives and a high-level clearance security card to get through the doors, maybe through the catacombs here on Shell 3. If you bring lead, she forgives her father, which I think is bullshit, so it's not canon and we will not be acknowledging it.
Yeah, I intentionally
Don't
brought
bring
lead,
lead.
assuming that I might need her for like plot trigger reasons. Yeah, everyone just acts like this guy is the guy we need to be helping, and he's like the cool general guy. I'm like, did we just forget? Which I guess is kind of realistic now that I think about it. He's sort of the George Bush of this guy.
He really is. To find the security card, you can go and get it on the Tiamat on Shell 5. I already had it in my game one of the few times we went there prior. And then for the bomb, if you're Maddy, you solved this puzzle on accident by chasing a rabbit down a wrong hole.
I did.
Like 6 weeks ago. And so you go to our good old cranky friend on Shell 7 at the mining colony thing, and he says that he's sick and he needs some medicine, so he won't tell you where the explosives are until you get him the medicine. Half of this quest was left on the cutting room floor because after you actually get him the medicine, he hands you the explosives. He doesn't tell you the dungeon that he's alluding to that you have to do to go get them. Which I think is funny. But the medicine is made using a Hellgag bone. You can use the flute one that you have if you want to, and a mortar and pestle, and the antidote herb that we found way back in Prano. If you didn't grab it way back when, you still can go and get it on Shell 1. But now that our cranky bro is better, he gives us some explosives and a pickaxe. So now we go back to Shell 3, enter the catacombs, and we stay here for the most of the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
So the catacombs proper, because we basically carved our little way through it back in the day, but now we do the big thing, and it is a 3-section dungeon, none of which seemed interesting. Is that a good read on the catacombs part of this?
Yeah, it's
Let
pretty.
me think about it.
It's lever pulling simulator. Just as always.
It was more of this game's favorite puzzle style, which is a 2-layer maze where you pull levers, where the levers become pathways, but they also become walls. They're pathways if you're up top, and they're walls if you're down bottom. Actually, you know what? A lot of these lever dungeons, it's kind of like some 3D Zelda dungeons where it seemed like a quote-unquote puzzle, but really you just do the only thing you can do at every juncture. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's usually a water temple where you're like raising and lowering the water levels.
No, that's not what I mean.
No,
like water temple, you have to think about what level to put the water at. I'm saying most Zelda dungeon rooms, you go into the room and you do the one thing that you can do, and then after
it's closer
you do
to the Shadow Temple.
Yeah,
The Shadow Temple is a
thing you can do.
straight line.
The game's like, okay, now there's a button, and you're like, okay, well, I'll hit the button, and then the game's like, okay, now there's a thing, and you're like, okay. So what I'm saying is, in this game, most of the time, you go down the only path you can, and then pull the lever, and then the level transforms, and then there's pretty much only one other path you can go down.
Right.
This dungeon broke that, actually. This dungeon had a few parts where it had one specific room, the third room, where I was like, oh, I need to think about this, actually. Because I'm trying to get here, and if I pull this lever, even though the game led me to it, it actually sort of blocks me off, so I need to go around this loop. It was nice. It was cool. The game doesn't... Nice. Again, it actually made me think a little bit instead of just being go to the thing that is in front of me and then do the thing.
Nice.
But yeah, other than that, uninteresting.
At the far end of the catacombs, we make our way into buried Jinam. Everything is surprisingly intact, except for all the grotesque body horror and zombies infesting the place.
I will say it gets its own sub-world map like we get sometimes, but it's interesting because that's the first time it's ever happened in the middle of a dungeon.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Like normally you go on the world map and then you click and now you're in the sub map, but this is like we just went through a dungeon and now there's a sub map. Kind of cool. It actually really it gave me the impression of it I think dramatically portrayed the idea of like we've gone literally below the world plate and now there's this huge city that's completely underneath the ground. I wouldn't say underground because of the way Septerra works, but it is under some ground.
Yes. So the first place that you head into is the Jinam control lab, which is super atmospheric but boring. You just get a key from the inside. There's like a lot of like dead bodies and like cool stuff like that, but you just walk the only path you can till you find the key and then walk your way back out. Then you head into the research lab, which is just you just pull levers, but this one it does have the cool thing where when you go and get the item, you can't backtrack, so you have, instead of going there and back again, you go in a circle, which is at least the nicer way to backtrack. And then lastly, there's the Jinam main lab, and here I actually was like really impressed with the slight world building that had been going on. And I don't know if you guys noticed this while actually playing it, but since I was looking over the Let's Play, I got to see it. So if you remember back in episode 1, which why would you? That was like 6 goddamn months ago. But back in episode 1, it was established that zombies are not a natural thing that just happens in Septerra. Like in Final Fantasy, you die, you're a zombie. That's just what fucking happens. Here, that's not natural. It's because the place was cursed by the necromancer Drax, the boss we fought earlier. So we've gone this far fighting exclusively zombies these last couple of things, and you're just thinking, yeah, I'm in the graveyard. Of course there's zombies. So you like forget that that's the thing. So then when you show up and fucking Drax is there and he's like, you've been killing my army that I've been raising to try and take over the main world. It's kind of like a subtle storytelling, which this game doesn't really do a lot, which I thought was nice. Cause like the pre-renders in this game are amazing and they're really, really nice. And it was kind of great that they were using them for storytelling finally. They've just been nice places where storytelling happened before, but now they like told a story with it, which I always love. Yeah,
I had one small comment about these 3 dungeons. This dungeon did something. Actually, you know what? The previous dungeon did this too. The game has gotten to a vibe where the number of battles, like per, I don't know, square foot of dungeon is a lot less. So this dungeon was a big long maze, but it had a lot more stretches where you're just running and exploring and not having a battle every 5 seconds.
That's good.
A lot of the time I'd dip into a room to see if there's anything there. And in earlier parts of the game, if you go into a room and it's a dead end, there's usually a bad guy you got to fight. And then you just wasted your time. And in this game, a lot of the time it's just like, no. So a lot of the time, like, yeah, it's 3 entire dungeons, but I would probably fight. And the battles that are there, generally they're not. A lot of them you're able to sneak around them without too much trouble. So, and I really prefer that. I prefer that to the like fighting 10 billion battles. Right? It's like no. You soak in the atmosphere, you enjoy the graphics, you enjoy the navigation of the mazes. It's a lot more fun to navigate a maze when you're not fighting battles constantly. Right?
Yeah.
So by making them a little more rare. And also making them avoidable using stealth. It was nice, which also the battles were actually pretty hard, which was nice, which was interesting as well. But yeah, so nice. That's just another shift. I didn't like any of the dungeons as much as the ones from last week. We talked about how much we loved last week's dungeon, but I did enjoy the more chill vibe of being able to run around without battles for lengthier portions. It was cool.
How was the Drax fight for you, Maddy?
Oh, I have no idea. So at this point, I think I mentioned last week, the game all of a sudden magic is useful. Like last week, all of a sudden it was like, oh, these status spells are actually really good and I should be using them. Well, this week, there kept being a bunch of enemies that had super high defense and lots of health, which normally means you're underleveled, but in this case, I knew I wasn't. And this game doesn't really have difficulty spikes. This game is actually usually pretty chill about tracking with your level. So I was like, I guess I'll try using magic. And so far in the game, there haven't really been a lot of enemies that are like, oh, I'm weak to magic or whatever. That hasn't really been much of a thing. Or if they have been, it hasn't been worth doing anyway. But that was the entire week. So for all the battles, I've learned a lot of really cool spells in case either of y'all are curious. We got a new spell called Berserk, which does what it seems like. It berserks the enemies. So you know how in Final Fantasy, Berserk makes it where you can't control your character, but you're also more powerful, but you still most of the time attack the enemy. It's just that you can't strategize.
Yeah.
In this game, Berserk is confuse.
Oh.
Like, Berserk is, you're going to be attacking your own dudes a lot. Like, it's way worse than FF, because FF you might do it on purpose sometimes, and this is like, no, you do not want to be berserked. So you can berserk enemies, but if you combine the berserk card with the law card, Law of Marduk, that makes a really, really powerful magic spell. I would suggest both of y'all experiment with this, even if you don't need to, because the graphics on these higher level spells are really fucking cool. So just like cast it, see what happens. It like disintegrates the character into a zillion pieces, and then they reform. And then it does like 600 damage. I mean, it depends on the enemy, but yeah. And then if you combine those two also with the attack all, that makes the supernova spell. But if you attack Law and Berserk with, or sorry, it's called Chaos. Chaos is what it is. If you combine Law and Chaos with Mirror, it makes a spell called Black Hole. And Black Hole, not only is it the most powerful spell in the game, at least as far as I can tell so far, and attacks everyone, it does a fuck ton of damage. It has a really short animation.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's like pretty quick. So it's like wham, bam, boom, they're dead. And at this point, you can afford to buy literally 99 MP up. So you just use an MP up item every battle, and then in between battles, and then you use that, and it probably doesn't kill them all instantly, but it might. Maybe you got to hit them one more time, now they're dead. I say most powerful in the game. I'm pretty sure the summons are probably more powerful, but with the summons, you got to think about what element should I use, and also like the animations take so long. So most of the time, I would just be using Black Hole. Anyway, the point is, once I figured out how these powerful spells work, every boss this week was just buff myself all the way up, put a shield on me, put haste on me, put slow on the enemy, even cloak myself. We can cloak ourselves now, and remember how it was insanely OP and annoying when the enemies use it? It's equally OP when we use it. So if you cloak yourself and shield yourself and haste yourself and slow the enemy, there's no danger. And then you just cast your incredible powerful spell over and over while someone restores your MP for a while, and then they die. Completely uninteresting, although it was interesting figuring out how to do all this, figuring out that you can do all these things. So that's cool. Also, fun fact, in this dungeon, I think I mentioned before how this game typically has really shitty loot. Like a lot of the time you go out of the way and you just get like a fucking potion or whatever. In this game, in this week, at one point there's a dungeon and I could see that there was an alternate route to go, and it was kind of quite a bit of a ways. And I was like, this is a pretty lengthy way to go for just a dead end and some shitty treasure. Maybe it's got something good in it. So I go and I do it, and you get 2 entire spell cards just in a fucking chest.
You also get Maya and Badu's ultimate weapons in this dungeon, which if you didn't get them, it's not worth it to go back and get.
No, I'm not going to. No, I did get Maya's ultimate weapon. I did get that. I didn't get Badu's though. You also get. Actually, I'm not sure where I got this. If I got it out on the. Oh no! Hey, I remember how there's secret areas in the world map. I thought I'd found all of them, but it turns out I just, while dicking around, flying around, I happened to find another one, and it led to a treasure chest, and it had an accessory that increases the amount of XP you get.
Yes.
Which is always an accessory that you love to get in a game, which is fun. But yeah, lots of really good loot in this game. I did not get that ultimate weapon annoyingly. Although also I did do a little bit of looking just because I was curious. The birdseed, they are all not missable. And when you get all of them, it does get you some characters as ultimate weapons. I think it's like 2 or 3 of them. And all the guides are like, yeah, you should definitely do this. Like, maybe not you should go get all 10 if you've been missing them. But for me, I think I've only missed like 1 or 2. So it's like, yeah, I'm definitely going to want to do that because that's exciting. I like finding what a funny little way to do a collectible is fucking feeding birds. That's such a stupid idea, but it's like, it's got character. It's weird. It's cute.
I love it.
Anyway,
so
the end.
After the fight, we get the anti-doomsday device, and Caleb shows up, and he's like, I followed you here so I can trap you. I'll never let you leave. But we dive through the door that we just had to do 3 dungeons to unlock and lock it behind us. So, sucks to be Caleb. Also sucks to be us because
kind of a horrible fate.
Yeah. Also sucks to be us because there's no shortcuts, so we have to go backwards through all the dungeon we just did. Yeah. So
thanks,
it's like
Jane,
another hour of dungeon.
Jane McAllevy. Ugh.
So when we finally do get out of the catacombs, we see a cutscene if you're Maddy or the Let's Play, and so as discerning viewers may remember, Eli's cheat of choice was the get one of every item, including key items thing. So every now and then it'll break his sequencing. And normally it's no big deal where it's just like he'll talk to somebody and they'll be like, oh, thank you for doing the quest. And he's like, oh, you had a quest? Whatever.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, pretty much.
What's the quest?
This time it soft locked his game and he can't actually progress.
Yeah, so, I went in to I used the Jinam key to get in. There was no boss there. Caleb yelled at me, and then we ran away from him. And then I made the harrowing, long-ass journey out of the fucking catacombs, and no cutscene happened.
Yep.
Wow.
And that cutscene is the trigger for Layla to point you in the next right direction. So
Rip.
Sweet.
Fun time.
Give you my save. Speaking of the game glitching, I had 2 glitches this time around, which is weird because the game has some clear design issues sometimes, like with triggers and quest direction. But for me, very few actual glitches. Actually, I can't think of a single one that I've had. But there were 2 this week. There was a minor graphical one where a tile was going over me instead of under. But that's like fun and cute, and I love it when that happens. I had a good time. And then the second one, though, was twice this game. Twice I was in the middle of a battle, and I would get a straight up like Windows message like, the game encountered a fatal error. Hit OK, game crashes to desktop. Twice.
Oh,
and the weird thing is that had never ever happened prior to this. And both times it happened were in difficult battles, and I believe I was doing magic spells, but it wasn't like a certain spell causes it. There wasn't any consistency to it as far as I could tell, because it only happened twice. The first time, I did lose a bit of time, maybe 20 minutes of play, which is annoying. After that, of course, I was like, I gotta make sure I'm saving really often. Obviously, you should be saving often. So the second time it happened, I think it happened during the battle with Drax, maybe, and I had saved right before the battle, so it was fine. But yeah, I'm like 50 hours into this game, and just now am I encountering a game crash glitch.
Yeah,
weird.
And it could be one that didn't even exist in 1998. As we discussed, we had to duct tape this game together to get it to run in the future.
I'm more surprised that it took so long. Like you'd think if there was sometimes in the battle the game crashes when you're in a battle. You think that would have happened earlier, if it was going to happen at all. But yeah, anyway, fun fact.
Fun. So when we do leave the catacombs and we see the cutscene, in the cutscene, Doskias he gets a report that Caleb is locked in the bottom of a dungeon for the rest of his life, and Doskias is like, "Fine, I'll do it myself." So he mobilizes his fleet of precisely 3 ships to come and kill us, and we get a spectacular FMV of us flying away from the graveyard right as Doskias shows up to destroy us. Lobo does some kick-ass Han Solo evasive maneuvers to dodge out of the way, but we are obviously headed towards our 4th airship crash of the game.
Sam, was his lazy maneuver just drifting lazily to the left?
Yes. So that is until Campbell shows up, and he is still completely unredeemable, but he crashes his ship into the bridge of Doskias' ship, bringing the ship down, and he dies for the 2nd time. And characters are sad. Don't know why. Can't relate.
Yeah, cannot relate. Dude, I'm not sad about it.
Yeah. So we take the anti-doomsday device back to Layla, who says that it won't be able to stop a doomsday brain, as we saw last time. Even killing it doesn't stop it once it's set off, but it might slow it down so that we can evacuate the shells, which is great because shell 4 is about to get got. So we split the party for actual real this time. We have narratively split the party once a couple weeks ago, but now it actually takes you to a party selection screen, FF6 style, where you have to pick who goes in which party. Corgan leads one party, Maya leads the other, and Maya's team goes to evacuate Shell 4, and Corgan's team goes to attack the brain. So with Maya, we go to try and find ships to evacuate the shell, and thankfully over in Scumtown there's that whole pirate trading empire that we took down, and so all their ships are just there ripe for the taking, but the fuel system is broken and they can't refuel. So we have to go and resolve a couple of the dead ends that we found last time we were in Connor's base.
I was so happy. I've been holding on to this fucking lead pipe for like 2 fucking weeks, and I knew where it went too. I knew where it went. But after you use it, you can't do whatever comes next. So I was when I finally realized that I needed to go somewhere to use a lead pipe, I was like, oh, beautiful. I felt the same way. I felt the same way about the fucking the cure as well. I was like, this is great. I am loving this. I am clearing. I'm like Marie Kondoing my inventory.
So yeah, we head to the mountain path in Connor's base. The guy at Scumtown gives us a key so we can get in, but there's some invisible force blocking our way. Luckily, we have the spray paint from Liberated Wind City. Hopefully, if you missed it, this is a completely obtuse hint. There's no way I would have thought to go to Wind City and find graffiti on the wall and pick up a spray paint can.
I just randomly picked it up at some point. Thank goodness.
Yeah, because there's no way I would have found that without a guide at this point.
Yeah, not at all.
Luckily, I know I picked it up. Eli, of course, has it because he has everything, and I'm glad that Maddy didn't get stuck here. But so you use the spray paint and you paint the ghost red, so now you can hit the shit out of it. And when you do, you get a key, and that's it. This game's second fatal flaw, its most important fatal flaw, is literally only precisely the length of time it takes to do a random mod battle because of the animations. Like, these big dungeons would not be a big deal if every battle didn't suck 5-10 minutes of your time. If battles were 25 seconds long, who cares about doing a big ass dungeon? But its second fatal flaw is oftentimes these dungeons, you go and you get a thing at the end of this long dungeon that just opens up another long dungeon for you to go and do.
Yep.
And this one, none of these in this section are very long at all, so it's no big deal. But it's one of those things where it's like, oh, go here, and you go there and you find a key, and it's like, well, what the fuck do I need this key for? Why didn't he give me this key? Why did he give me the key for the key door? But, so you take that key and that lead pipe, you go to the north part of the pirate hideout where that broken fuel pump is. You put it in the pipe, you turn the key, you restart it, everyone's happy. So now that the ships have fuel, we need to find pilots. So we go to the World Bazaar and we ask the bounty hunters if they want to save everybody. And we don't bring up the fact that we slaughtered all of their friends and families a couple of weeks ago. And they're just like, sure, we can be friends. And they help us fly everybody out. So meanwhile, on the ship, Corrigan and company are taking. This is a dumb sentence. Why did I write my notes like this? Meanwhile, on the ship, Corrigan and company are taking into the Doomsday Brain to slow it down. Elisa's guard shows up, Markham or whatever. Elisa proves to be the villain that she was shaping up to be last week, and she doesn't want us to stop Doskias from killing the dense population of the World Bazaar for some reason. Like, our plan isn't to stop it, it is to save these people. But no, she's evil. When we saw how hot she was, we knew she was either a party member or evil, and unfortunately she was not a party member. So Corrigan's party beats the shit out of Markham, and Maddy, I'm guessing you just black holed through his high defense.
Yeah, it was an easy battle. Yeah.
Cool. So back with Maya, Elisa herself shows up, but she's not talking anything about the anti-doomsday device here. She is after Maya to get the ancient chosen talisman that she gave us, or that the Watchers gave us, and said that we would need someday. And
she said that she has the other half of it. And what did she say she needs it for?
She doesn't say.
Okay.
Maya asks what she needs it for, and Elisa says nothing, just fights us. So we black hole her until she dies. And as she's dying, she says that her people must have been successful in destroying the Jinam device because Shell 4 has started to rise. So we take her half of the chosen seal from her corpse and get the fuck out of Dodge. And we don't get a FMV of Shell 4 being destroyed. It's just gone.
It's really a shame.
Yeah, because those have been really cool cutscenes. But it is now gone. And this is where we are ending for the week. It's a fairly short week because it was like a long-ass bit of gameplay to get through all those long dungeons. And because of that, we're going to do... So, spoilers, it tells us nothing at this point. We go to talk to Layla because that's what it does when it tells you nothing. And she tells us that we have to go and get a big thing to stop Doskias. And she's like, this is the final battle. Yeah. So we're going to do the go get the thing next week, and then we'll do the actual final battle week after. So we're adding a week, which just gives people more time to vote on which PSP game we're playing at www.rpgbook.club.
It's that thing where the game is like, you have to get the magical doohickey of heroes in order to save the day, and you're like, cool, let's go on a side quest to get the magical doohickey of heroes, right? But apparently it's a relatively long pain in the ass. Also, trying to be clear here, Elisa definitely dies here. It's none of that. It's none of that ambiguous thing. They set her up as the evil villain's daughter, and then it's like, oh, maybe she's gonna join our party, and then she's like, no, I'm bad actually. And then we fight her, and she's dead now. So, I mean, maybe she'll come back as a watcher or something. That would be pretty cool, actually. That'd be a pretty shocking twist. Or a crazy, fucked up zombie. But it seems like she just died.
Yeah, seems like we just straight up killed her.
Yeah, but hold on. So yeah, because it would be ridiculous if a character who we straight up kill partway through the game comes back as an undead and is the final boss. That would never happen.
Nope.
That hasn't happened in a game we played on this very podcast.
What? Which one are you talking about?
Final Fantasy X.
Oh, okay.
You forget about this, but we straight up murk Seymour less than halfway through the game.
Yeah. I forgot.
Yeah, the second time he shows up, he shows up and does I think it's actually might be the first time. He shows up, does his villain thing, and we fight him. And instead of doing what most games would do, where we get him to low health and then he runs away, we just kill him right there. He dies. Oh, yeah. And then for the rest of the game, he came back as a zombie.
Yeah, and everyone's really in the world is mad at us for killing their religious leader. I remember that.
Yeah. It's actually really shocking that you would do that in a game, because you're just like, oh, we just killed that guy. Okay.
I thought you were talking about Lavitz at first. I was like, he wasn't the final bad guy. There was another,
are you
Lavitz was a very good boy.
Wait, are you saying that the final bad guy in that game wasn't Zombie Lavitz? Because I thought it was. I was really misinterpreting things.
Yeah, because Melbuframa is an anagram of Lavitz.
Yeah. It's just Lavitz backwards.
It's true, yeah. Write it down. You'll see.
So yeah, let's listen to some more Halo songs, and then we will talk about our memorable moment. Yeah, memorable moments. So I only have a couple because I didn't actually play. But so you have to use Aram, your demolitions expert, to use the explosives to get through the catacombs. And when you blow up the first door, he goes, "I love it." Which is
He
great.
actually does that every time, except I skipped it after the first time.
Well,
But
he
it's
actually
funny, he has the
said
same
something.
line.
He said something slightly different the second time, but I can't
really?
remember what it was.
Huh.
Yeah. And then I just skipped it the third time because I was like, whatever, fuck it.
Yep.
It's really like, this is unnecessary.
Yeah, and then my other one was just how really cool the environmental storytelling of like all these people who like the people in Buried Jinam are dead, and it's not just like, oh, it was a massacre. They're all like pushed against the walls from like the centrifugal force and everything, and it's really cool. I really thought that was dope. But those are the only two that I picked up on. Anybody else have any more?
I feel like I had a couple because I recall. Excuse me. I recall screenshotting a couple things during the game, but now I don't see them. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I didn't hit the right button for screenshot, which is a shame because I thought there were a few I really liked. But I do have still two. One is I love the design of the ship, the airship. It's like, I don't know. It doesn't. Most of the airships in this game look very sci-fi. I mean, I mentioned before this game. I think a lot of this game's world design is very clearly inspired by the Panzer Dragoon series. Mostly in vague ways, but there's a few specific ways you're like, oh, this is definitely not just me imagining this, right? But instead of looking like weird sci-fi ships, it looks like, you know, like an air ship, like FF4 style, where it's like, this is a fucking wooden ass old timey, you know, pirate ship, but in the sky this time, right? The graphics, I really like the pre-rendered graphics for it. It had like everything was like wood, and then everything was like big rope, you know, like things being like rope wrapped around things and netting and stuff like that. There's a hold with a bunch of, I guess, like shipping containers or something. And they're all held down by these big, like tied down by these big ropes. Just really like the graphics there. It was cool. In addition, when Elisa dies, I noticed did y'all notice she's holding some weird disc in her hand? And I don't mean like the item that we get off of her that's important for plot reasons. I mean like just part of her sprite. She's just like holding a weird little disc in her hand, and I was going to send it to y'all, but I just realized that I don't have Discord open on this computer. I might actually, I'll send it to you in a second. But yeah, she's like laying on the ground, and her hand is like a little yellow. It looks like he's holding a frisbee. I don't know why she's holding a frisbee. I don't know what that frisbee is, but it was funny to me.
I never noticed that. Yeah.
I'm going back to it right here. Yeah, she's definitely holding a frisbee.
I am now sending the frisbee. Oh, it's going really slow. Fuck, never mind.
Oh, in battle she uses it as a like she's holding it like it's her weapon in battle.
Yeah, see, so. I figured it was probably something like it was either like a magic or she was attacking us with it, but like I don't know. I mean, the battle animations you can't really tell what's happening in the battles sometimes.
Yeah.
So I didn't notice it till the battle. I didn't notice it till after she died, right? Even though, I mean, I kind of reverse engineered that was probably the case. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like Final Fantasy, you know, sometimes in the later Final Fantasy games, instead of characters using like swords or daggers or bows, you know, in later games, it's like, oh, I'm going to attack you with
a blitz ball.
I'm going to attack you with a ball. I'm going to attack you with a jump rope.
Moogle.
that reminds me, like, I didn't talk about this at the beginning. Final Fantasy 14 has announced its next expansion.
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
Some of the new features.
It looks so dope.
Oh my gosh,
it looks fucking awesome.
I wasn't able.
Excited.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the new classes.
Yeah, I wasn't able to watch the announcement thingy because I had work at the exact time that it started. But while I was working, whenever my student was doing something that I could, I mean, you know, it's really, sometimes it's hard to stay focused on things when you're working from home, right? So sometimes when my student was doing something I told him to do, I would click over to Twitter and just see my entire feed, just all the gays were just so excited about everything. Yeah, you know, I've never played a magic class at all, and I haven't been a healer or a magic person, but holy fuck do I want to be the like healer
Sage.
Gundam lady with the fucking Gundam funnels. Like, holy shit.
I need that class specifically because I RP a doctor.
Nice.
So it would be kind of perfect for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited to play that expansion in 3 years when I catch up. I would love it if I could actually catch up with the story by the time that comes out so that I could experience it with everyone else. But no.
You've got time.
I'm not even to A Realm Reborn yet. Though I am close.
Yeah.
I just did the stone the dragon place.
Oh yeah.
At level 40.
Stone Temple Pilots.
That's right. I just now defeated the dragons.
Stone Vigil.
I just now defeated the Stone Temple Pilots in combat, so like I've got a lot more to go.
Stone Vigil.
Yes, that's the one.
That one.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, we're all very hype about this.
Incredibly. But Eli, did you have anything from this week?
I remember a time I wasn't playing this game. Is that a memorable moment?
We are almost through it.
I know. I'm sorry.
Like I was telling Eli off mic earlier on Discord, like despite everything wrong with this game, it's still one of my favorites that we've played because it's so frustrating, and it's like a swing and a miss in art is a lot more interesting than like a bunt, to keep up sports metaphors that no one does. So like a lot of people really like Arc the Lad Twilight of the Spirits, but I played like 4 hours of it, and it was down. It was a fastball down the middle. Just I guess I play baseball a lot. Jesus Christ, but just a down the middle, no big, no risk JRPG, and that's okay. It's fine. Those are okay, but we just talked about how much I love Ledger of Dragoon, and it's one of those. But when somebody throws you like a fucking knuckleball, curveball, like bright pink with spaghetti on it, I meant to say confetti streamers, but spaghetti came out. And so they do something like super weird, and you're like, don't do that again, but I'm glad you did. And that's definitely how I feel about this game.
I will say something weird, Sam. I've been streaming this game, and you would not believe how many new viewers I've picked up who are like, wow, I loved this game when I was a kid. You're the only person I've ever seen streaming it. I'm following you now, and I'm going to watch every time you stream it because I love this game. And when I say you wouldn't believe how many times that happened, what I mean is it's happened more than 0 times. I think it's happened like 5 or 6 times. Maybe even more than that. My most recent stream, I had a viewer from Spain, and then I had someone from Argentina, and Argentina was like, I love this game, and then he followed me. Weird, huh?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
This game that I'd never even heard of, despite being the one who is usually heard of things, turns out not only is like it's got fans out there who think it, who find it really special to them. So how neat.
Yeah. And
I would have remembered. Shout outs to Generic Fighter for reminding me that anytime I have a new viewer, especially one who is watching me play an RPG Book Club game and likes the game, I should remember to tell them to listen to RPG Book Club. I would have forgotten if Generic Fighter hadn't reminded me.
Yes. And that's one of the main reasons why I like this podcast and why I'm so glad we're on a Square ban and we're just going to start playing the weirdest shit available. It's because every game is somebody's favorite game, and so
which makes no sense, but it's cool to realize that.
Yeah, when we play Hexus Force next week, there's going to be that one guy that got banned from Metacritic because he kept trying to review bomb it with all 10s so people would play it more. he's going to find us and he's going to love us for playing that game. And
exactly,
it's called like. As excited as I am to play that game, its name is goddamn Hexus Force. That's the worst video
it's a
game.
Terrible name for a game.
That is.
It sounds
so
like
bad.
nothing. It just sounds like it's like when you go to the grocery store and there's like the generic brand where the cereal is just called like cereal. That's what Hexus Force is like. That the game to me, just title wise. I haven't played the game. No shade on the actual Bran Flakes, bold and new taste.
Yeah, and it's the Bran Flakes. Not even for RPGs. It's the Bran Flakes of Bejeweled. It's like when you're like, do I want to play Bejeweled or Hexus Force?
Yeah, no, you can't get over the fact that it sounds like Hexen. You can't get over that. Yeah, when I hear Hexus Force, I'm so fun. That's so funny that your brain went the same direction because I hadn't mentioned that. But like, yeah, every time you say Hexus Force, my brain is like, that's a game where this is like a mobile game that your mom plays where you tap on brightly colored things.
And again, cannot reiterate how much I kind of hope that one wins because it looks really, really good. Bad name. Somebody's favorite game.
I'm not going to put my thumb on the scale because they both sound awesome, but I do agree that it has that unique quality to it.
Yeah, it is very tied right now. And if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, it's tied, but we'll see how it shakes out. It's currently tied with 4 votes. So it's real easy for if you like either of these games, if you want us to play the Bejeweled game, you can go and vote at RPG Book Club, rpgbook.club, and your vote will count.
Is it seriously Bejeweled?
No.
Okay.
It has like
I want to play a Bejeweled RPG now.
It's puzzle. The original Puzzles and Dragons is actually really good.
That.
Okay.
But
I've heard the game's good.
But yeah, so if you're hearing this and you want to put your hand on the scale either way, we have almost no votes this time around because nobody's heard of either game. On the voting page, I spend every time we have a new thing. Not a lot of people see this because we only get like 7 votes ever. But I spend like the whole day researching and pulling clips and screenshots and blurbs from Wikipedia and blurbs from like RPG Fan because they've been a website since like 1991, so they have played every RPG, so they have a review for every goddamn RPG, and so I'll like pull things from their review, stuff like that, to give people an informed decision. And so go and read about these games, see which one sounds cooler, looks cuter, and vote for it because your vote definitely matters this time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm going to announce it now because that'll make me have to do it. But
yes.
So this year, one of my goals is to build the brand, as it were. And 2 of the ways I want to do that is I want to actually go through with merch and making cool stuff. Our old shirts kind of sucked. Probably won't have those. Or I'll keep them on there because it's all drop shipped, so it's free to keep them up there. But the new merch idea that I have is just a bunch of like RPG text boxes and like make them true to the game because I'm a perfectionist and of course I'm going to do that. But it's going to be like the text box that says, "Oh no, my God, from Legend of Dragoon, and just have RPG Book Club underneath them. So if you like the stupid shit we keep talking about for 3 years, we've said toodaloo as goodbye every goddamn episode since July of Persona 3. But if you like our fucking references, you're now going to have them on shirts. And
that's awesome.
And also, I don't even think you guys know about this because I've been talking with Bernard and Matt about it, but we are going to have Ko-Fi exclusive episodes for Podcast no Kiseki, where we
finally, that's what you want. You want exclusive episodes. That's what you do. But none of what we currently do would make sense for that.
Yeah. So me, Bernard, and Matt are going to play a little bit of the longest continually running RPG series. Like, each one is a sequel to the last one that I've ever fucking heard of. The Legend of Heroes Trails series. If we run out of the Trail series, we will also play the not unrelated, just Legend of Heroes other 5 games. But we're going to start with Trails in the Sky and make our way through a 10-game series. So it is the longest of long casts.
It's the longest cast, yeah.
Yeah. So that will come out on our Ko-Fi for Ko-Fi exclusives. Full disclosure, Ko-Fi doesn't have any good way to host exclusive episodes right now. The best they have is an unlisted YouTube video. So apologies that it's going to be just a picture of our logo and you listen to it. It's the best I can do for now. But so it's going to have that. I'll also have a download link if you want to download it and put it on your iPod or whatever the fuck. But they'll go on Ko-Fi and be exclusive there for like 3 months. And then we'll eventually come to the thing. So if you're like, oh, I love you guys, but I don't have enough money to pay every month, you still can get Podcast no Kiseki. We're just going to be talking about like memes that are ancient by the time that it's a free episode. But yeah, now that Longcast is getting out of the way, I have some room to reinvest my time in the podcast in a cool way. So those will be coming soon. All of that on the Ko-Fi is at www.rpgbook.club. So check us out there. And then also, like every other podcast asks this every time. I think it's annoying to ask for it every time because it feels disingenuous. But apparently, like iTunes reviews do help because magic background number bullshit.
They do actually.
So if you want to go and toss us a review, I'll start reading them on air. If you want a way to pimp your own stuff, you can just go and say nice things about us.
Yeah, do it,
and then I'll talk about it. But
Speaking of pimping stuff, I have to say it every week. Just a reminder to go to search for Dungeon Bitches Kickstarter on the Googles and go check out the Kickstarter for my girlfriend's. It's not theirs, but you know the Kickstarter that my girlfriend is working on, called Dungeon Bitches. I did misspeak earlier, by the way. Last time I said they were doing a few things that they weren't actually. When I said what their involvement was, I said a few things that they don't actually do. And they're like, "No, I'm not doing that." I said that they were doing quote like some art, whereas the answer is really like they did art. They did like an art. Saying some art made them feel like I was might make people accidentally think that they were like the art director or something, which they're not. Though they do like an art, but anyway, no, they're mostly the editor and manager and other stuff like that. But anyway, check it out. It has blown past its initial goal, and its stretch goals. They had to invent new stretch goals for it. Currently it's a hell of a deal. If you pay, I think the $35, that is the like main back, that's like you get a PDF of the game and all of the expansions. And after the game actually launches, the expansions are going to be sold separately. Right. And because they hit all of the stretch goals, there are 3 entire expansions that this is going to include.
Hell yeah.
So like, people who backed back when it was only at 5,000 are now getting significantly more game than they had initially thought that they'd paid for. So take a look at the game. If you think it looks interesting to you, even though they've already hit their goal, I mean, just from a personal self-interest standpoint, you're saving. It's a great deal to back it, as opposed to deciding you want to buy it later and then regretting that you didn't back it. So go ahead and do that. It's got like 8 days left. They invented a final stretch goal that is really cool. Check it out. Though if they hit it, they'll have to invent another one. So who knows? I wouldn't pretend to know what they might have in store. I don't have inside information on that stuff. But shout outs to my GF Mixtress Khan, and shout outs to Sarah and Emily, who are all making a wonderful game that I hope that you all take a look at. Thanks.
Nice. Shout outs to, because I always like to shout out when we get new Discord people, and we had new Discord people. I just forgot their name. Going and checking Missing Screws. That's their name. Shout outs to Missing Screws. It was hilarious. They joined right as I was like, I just had posted a question. I was like, hey, I really like Star Trek, the genre, as well as Star Trek, the show. Like, what are some good Star Trek genre things for me to check out? And then they showed up, and I'm like, hey, welcome. Same thing I ask everybody, what's your favorite RPG? And they're like, Star Ocean. I'm like, oh, hey, a Star Trek. I forgot about that one. Let me add it to the list. But shout outs to them. Good to have you. Love to have people in the Discord. A link to that Discord is on our website, which for the 4th time this week, I will say, is at www.rpgbook.club.
LMAO.
And come and hang out with us. Other than that, I'm gonna stop talking now. So for RPG Book Club, I am Sam Allman.
I've been Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I'm Maddy Griswebben. Bye, everybody.
Toodaloo. Can I just say real quick, I'm really proud of myself for remembering Mobu Frama.
I was actually just thinking, I can't believe you remember the name of the villain of that game, because I sure didn't.